Hello and welcome to Out of State Daming Podcast. I'm your host, lluksblackheart, and your co-host.
Iskian.
Join us as we discuss 3.5 D&D. Today's episode will be centered around paladins. We'll be going over some of the topics of their skills, their alignments, and their special abilities. Now, as I press all the wrong things, paladins. As you can see, they do get a lot of really good stuff. But to start off, uh, its important thing is their alignment. A paladin, when you choose it and you pick your god, your alignment cannot be opposed to that god. And since paladins have to be lawful good, your god has to be some form of lawful and or good. So you cannot pick chaotic gods, evil gods. You can pick neutral gods. You can pick uh, lawful, neutral, or lawful good. Appearance anything with an L and a G in it, you can take it. It's because you're not opposed to that, and that goes
And
into the whole.
if if you do happen to have an evil god, that would be called an anti-paladin and not playable.
There's some DMs that anti paladins uh, be a thing, and that's a evil paladin. Uh, but getting straight to it. Paladins have one of the best hit dies, a die 8, almost a die 8, a die 10. So they're up there
You
with
did say
the
that.
fighter. Well, I did, but my brain just went to go straight into it. The besides being high strength, high con, obviously for melee, great melee potential. A wisdom and charisma are also key for a paladin because when you get the abilities to cast spells, because at starting at fourth level, you can cast spells as a paladin. It goes off of your wisdom, so you need at least a 10 wisdom just to cast. Oh, not 10 wisdom. Sorry, 11 wisdom just to start to cast your spells. If you have a higher wisdom, you can get bonus spells because start at fourth level, you get zero first level spells. So if your wisdom's not high
And
enough to
what
give
about?
you a bonus, then
I thought charisma was everything for a paladin.
not for spells. Charisma comes in a moment for multiple of their abilities, and I'll be going over those abilities in a moment. I'm gonna cover a lot of spells. So if you have enough a high enough wisdom to give you bonus first level spells, you can actually cast at that level. Otherwise, you have to wait till at least level 6. And just like with all the other spellcasting classes, you have to have at least a 12 to be able to cast second, 13 for third, and 14 for fourth. It also affects your DCs for those spells, because some of the spells that do have DCs attached to them because they're offensive things. Because they are a wisdom based divine caster, so that needs to be important. Not quite as important as everything else, mainly because you have to wait 4 levels before you can cast spells, and you have to actually make sure it's quite high in order to immediately start casting them. So if you're not stressing spells, then just have a decent wisdom. When it comes to their abilities, just about all of these abilities listed here, their Aura of Good, Smite Evil, Divine Grace, Lay on Hands, like all of these things here rely on having a high charisma. And if anyone tries to say, no, they don't need a high, yes, they need a high charisma. We'll go to the first, what's it, go from the first ability, Aura of Good. I love how I say it needs charisma, and the first ability doesn't use charisma. It uses their level. Uh,
Hmm.
what the aura of good does is a paladin just has an aura about them that radiates goodness. and the power level of it goes off of their level. Just normally when you're trying to do like detect alignments, just like with like detect good okay, okay, with like detect match and stuff, you can gauge a certain power of an entity based on if it has an actual aura or not. Paladins have an aura, and the higher level they get, the more potent that aura gets. So certain creatures will be able to automatically go, "Oh, that's a good guy." Like for instance, unicorns can automatically sense good and evil auras. So a paladin pops up, a unicorn is going to go, "Oh, this guy's awesome. He's cool. I know he's a good guy because that aura he's producing." But then other creatures that can go, "I don't mean this, huh? I feel goody two shoes around." Like the Beta Zoos and Tanari are gonna go, "That's an enemy. That guy's a beacon of goodness. I gotta go beat that guy up."
Doesn't the aura, though, doesn't that affect the evil enemies?
No, it doesn't. All it really does is when someone casts detect good, instead of just being go, "Oh, that guy's a good guy," they look over at the paladin and he's a shining beacon of goodness. It's like a power level of trying. It's like when you cast detect magic, some items glow a lot brighter and dominate all other magical auras around them because they're really powerful. Paladins kind of do that with their aura of good. So if you're standing close enough to a paladin that's powerful enough, you could be mistaken for good because their aura could overwhelm yours. So if you're trying to be that like not so goody two shoes character, and you know you're in an area where people like to cast detect good because they don't want evildoers or anything, there, 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 you can go. Okay, so all you guys good, detect good. If you're close enough to the paladin of a certain level, his aura can kind of shroud you in his. So people go, oh,
So really, the aura of good is all it does is go, "I'm here,
yeah, it's a beacon.
I'm good, I'm here."
Yeah. It's like an automatic. It might as well be a neon sign saying I'm the good guy. The next power, detect evil, is an at will ability that paladins get. It works just like the spell, and it means at any given time they can have a 60-foot cone effect of, do I see anything popping up as evil? So it is a good detector of if you know you're fighting bad guys and you have a good trust that they're most likely going to be evil. You you don't need to roll spot checks. You just need to cast detect evil. If they have an alignment of evil or a evil aligned weapon, it's just boom. It's like, oh, bad guy over there. How can you tell? Detect detect evil guy. Uh Now, their Smite Evil is probably one of my favorite abilities, even though it's kind of limited in a way. It's once a day, a paladin may attempt to smite evil with one normal melee attack. You add your charisma bonus, if any, to your attack roll, and you deal an extra 1 point of damage per paladin level. So the higher your charisma, the easier time you have hitting with this attack, and with a high enough level, you just do a lot more damage. And the example does put a 13th level paladin with a longsword longsword that would deal a d8 plus 13 points of damage just because it's 13th level, plus any other bonuses from strength or magical effects. So having a high enough level does really help. Uh, and it does say if a paladin accidentally smites a creature that is not evil, the smite has no effect, but the ability is still used up for the day. So it's one of those, be sure it's evil. Otherwise, it's like, I smite evil this rat. Ah! No additional bonuses to hit or damage rolls. Well, it's
Why would
just
you
a
be smiting
rat.
a rat in the first place?
Oh, you would be surprised. When we're done with the abilities, I'll go into certain samples of why some people shouldn't be allowed to play paladins.
Right.
At fifth level and every 5 levels after that, you may use Smite Evil an additional time per day. So it's twice at fifth, 3 at 10, 4 at 15th, and so on. So with higher levels, you do get to use it more, which is good. The next ability is Divine Grace. At second level, you get a bonus equal to your charisma modifier on all saving throws. For those playing at home, it means automatically if you're like, I have a 16 charisma, you hit level 2, your saving throws, because if we go all the way up to here, at level 2, you have a plus 3 fortitude, plus 0 reflex, plus 0 will. So unless you have a high will and a high reflex, you're not doing too hot on those saving throws. You have to wait till higher level. And you can also see that at 3, they go to both those go to 1, 6, they go to 2, 9, they go to 3. So your fortitude's constantly going up and strong. Strong because again it starts at 2 and it hits an increase at every 2 levels. Well, super not every 2 levels, but technically every 3 levels. Does it's 2 at 1, then 2 and 3 is a 3. Then once 4 hits, it's a 4. Then yeah, it just builds up. So the fortitude just gets outrageously high because again, it's a fighter type class. But what Divine Grace does, and one of the reasons why Divine Grace is possibly one of my uh, favorite class abilities is you can be sitting there, even if it's like a plus 1 from like a 12 charisma, or a 14 which gives you plus 2 immediately at level 2, you get that on your saving throws immediately. That is grand, and it always goes up as long as your charisma's going up. And since paladins do rely on charisma, like again, smite good, well not smite good, smite the good guy, on smite evil, that bonus to hit relies on having a high charisma. So because just off of smite evil, you're going to most likely have a high charisma. Therefore, your divine grace is going to kick off and be fabulous. The next one is uh, lay on hands. Lay on hands is another great one that kicks in level 2. You have to have a charisma score of 12 or higher. So if you have an average charisma score, which is a 10 11, you can't use his ability. So you kind of have to be above average on it. You can heal wounds while they're your own or others by touching them. The amount you can heal a day is equal to the mathematical equation of your level times your charisma modifier. So if you have a 12 charisma at level 2, you can heal a total of 2 hit points a day. It may not sound like a lot, but it can save a life. Because the higher level you get, the higher that gets. The higher charisma modifier, the more you get. So a 7th level paladin with a charisma of 16, which is a plus 3, can heal 21 hit points a day. That can be spread up between 1 hit point 21 times or 21 in one big time. And you can mix it up. It doesn't just have to be you. You can go, okay, there's 4 of us. So I'm going to heal myself by 6 and the rest by 5. It may take 4 turns
And
to pull it off, but still.
and if there's a cleric in the party, lay on hands can actually supplement the healing ability of a cleric or save the party if somebody's down
Yeah,
eight into -8 and the cleric's out of healing. Well, the paladin can take over and take the
Yeah,
cleric's place, and then you're everybody's happy because everybody's healed.
yeah. So like, no matter where you put it, well, be a party that doesn't have a cleric. If there's a paladin there, the paladin can do emergency healing to keep everyone alive. And if there is a cleric that for some reason is incapable of healing due to out of spells or incapacitated, well, you still have a paladin that can help. And a key thing to note: as long as you don't reach -10, your character's still alive, and all it takes is 1 point of that heat lay on hands to stop you from being dying. Does any magical healing stops you from going further into death? So all he has to do is heal you by 1. Your character's not gonna die unless something does damage to you. The next ability that kicks off at level 3 is a good one. It's Aura of Courage. Uh, the paladin, with this ability, you are immune to any form of magical or otherwise fear effects. So, frightful presence, you don't care about. Someone hitting you with fear, you don't care about. Each ally within 10 feet of you gets a +4 morale bonus on saving throws against fear. This only works when the paladin is conscious. So if you're unconscious or dead, it doesn't work. So you have to be at 0 or higher hit points in order to have it actually function. But that's still a really good ability because it's at level 3. Again, you're ignoring fear effects. And as long as everyone stays within 4 feet of you, well, 4 feet, within 10 feet of you, that's a +4, which is a big thing at level 3. Here's another good one: Divine Health. At third level, a paladin gains immunity to all diseases, including supernatural and magical ones, such as mummy rot and lycanthropy, meaning a third level paladin cannot become a werewolf. They are automatic they automatically don't care. Turn undead, they get at fourth level, and this works just like the cleric one. It's just instead of getting at level 1, they have to wait levels. They get to use it 3 plus your charisma modifier times a day, and you're treated as um, a cleric of 3 levels lower than what you actually are. So you get at level 4, and because you're considered as if you're 3 levels lower, you're doing it as if you're a first level cleric. So you're not going to be ever as good as the actual fourth level cleric, but it still really, really helps because that's another person doing begone thoughts to undead.
And undead suck anyway.
And to a large degree, they can. And all you really have to do is get to level 5. And unless it's a specialty skeleton or zombie, a 5th level paladin can just field wipe a group of skeletons or zombies by simply just going turn undead. Even though the 5th level cleric is going to be more effective at it, it's one of those save it for more powerful undead. Begone, weaklings.
And
I
then
already
the
covered the
paladin
spells.
can feel special.
Yeah, and the paladin feels special because he's actually like turning the undead. Uh oh, at 5th level, this is something a lot of people don't, for some weird reason, don't overly bank on. But it's something anyone playing a paladin should. It's a special mount. Upon reaching 5th level, you gain the services of an unusually intelligent, strong, and loyal steed to serve you in your crusade against evil. There's a sidebar for it. This mount is usually a heavy warhorse for medium-sized paladins, or a war pony for small-sized paladins. Once per day
Can
as
it be a
full on.
unicorn?
Can the what?
Can it be a unicorn?
I'll get to that in a moment. Because when we get to that sidebar, I will get to it. Once per day as for an action, you can magically call the mount from the celestial realms at which it resides. The mount immediately appears adjacent to the paladin and remains for 2 hours per paladin level. So at fifth level, it can stay with you for 10 hours. You may dismiss. It may be dismissed at any time as a free action. The mount is the same creature each time it is summoned, so it's not different one. You may release a particular mount from service if it has grown too old to join the crusade for some reason. Each time the mount is called, it appears in full health, regardless of any damage it may have taken previously. The mount also appears wearing or carrying any gear it had when it was last dismissed, including barding, saddling, saddlebags, and the like. Calling a mount is a conjuration calling effect, which technically means, if you have any magical items that augment conjuration calling effects, my brain's farting on if there actually is any or not, because a lot of them are summoning Pacific, not calling.
I've never, I've never heard of any.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they are they exist, but I just can't remember any of them off the top of my head. Uh, because it is a technically a magical effect you're doing, which technically means if you're in a anti magic zone, or for some weird reason denied the ability to use magical effects, you cannot call your mount.
If you're in an anti-magic zone, get out.
Yeah.
Just
Uh
leave the anti-magic zone.
yeah.
Not going to do you
If
any.
if your mount dies, it immediately disappears, leaving behind any equipment it was carrying. The paladin may not summon another mount for 30 days or until you gain a new level, whichever comes first. Even if the mount is somehow returned from the dead. During the 30-day period, the paladin takes a -1 penalty on attack rolls and whipping rolls. So for that period of time, because of the bond you have with this animal, you're taking a penalty for pretty much letting it die.
Bad you.
It's only for
Bad
30
paladin.
days, which kind of still sucks, but it's not permanent. And hopefully you can
That's the best part
actually,
is that it's
yeah,
not permanent.
yeah, it's not permanent. It's like the best part. Uh, so hopefully you're able to survive 30 days to get a new mount. Next is remove disease. It's at sixth level, so this is a good one to get at low level. It's once per week. Uh, you literally get the spell remove disease, and uh, you can use the ability one additional time per week for every 3 levels you have after six. So at 9, it becomes 2, 12, it becomes 3. So the higher level you get, the more times you can actually use it, which is really good. Because even though like I'm not necessarily a big fan of constantly throwing diseases out, having
Some people are.
someone who's not only immune to diseases because divine health, but then able to periodically just remove diseases from people is really really good. Now it comes time for the two bad parts. Uh,
There's two bad parts.
Yes. And depending on how strict the DM is, and technically what faith you follow, and what country the character resides in, kind of depends on how lenient a DM gets to be on this particular subject known as the Code of Conduct. Because the paladin must be lawful good, uh, at all times, or they lose their class abilities. If you ever willingly commit an evil act, you lose those abilities. Additionally, a paladin's code requires that they respect legitimate authority, act with honor, pretty much not lying, not cheating, not using poisons, and so forth. Help those in need, which is provided they do not use the help for evil or chaotic ends, and punish those who harm or threaten innocents. Uh, for some reason, my brain thought the actual code of conduct would be listed here, but there's actual legit code of conduct that has all of the do's and don'ts in it. So that's less guessing for the DM and for players. Like one of the things that the code of conduct a paladin can't do is draw first blood. In layman's terms, you can't be the first one to do damage. So it doesn't matter if you go first in the initiative or not. You cannot be the one to damage first. That's layman's terms because it's like drawing blood is doing damage. You're wounding things there. Legality side of it
But
is if
you can go on Mike Tyson on them.
yeah, um, but the logistics side of it is it specifically says cannot draw first blood. For those who get it without me having to go into this part, yay for you, you've won a cookie. Those who don't, it means if a creature does not have blood to be drawn, does this part of the code actually count? Technically, no, because it does not have blood. Therefore, you're not drawing first blood because there is no blood
Have,
to be drawn.
have your cookie.
Yeah. So if it's a construct, there's no blood. If it's a skeleton, there's no blood. Technically, zombies do have blood. It's coagulated blood, but it's still technically blood. Same with like vampires. But things like liches, they don't have blood. They're technically a strong variant of a, excuse me, skeleton. That's why bludgeoning works against them. Because they technically don't have blood. Skeletons don't have blood. Elementals don't have blood.
But
If you're
skeletons and zombies are undead, so attack anyway.
Well, it's a thing. It's tech. That's where you get into technicalities of what a DM classifies as blood or not. So if a DM goes, "Oh, because it's undead, and if it technically has blood, it has to actually be flowing blood," which means just about all the undead are on the table, except for undead like vampires that do actually have working circulatory systems. Because if you cut it, it bleeds. Therefore, technically, you can't draw a first blood against a vampire because
They're
it
also evil
bleeds.
undead.
Yeah. What that's besides the point. Uh, One of the reasons why it's like what the DM considers blood or not is technically speaking, if you want to get technically, sap is considered blood of plants. But the amount of people who argue that sap isn't blood because it's not coming out of a creature, it doesn't count because it's not coming out of a creature, despite the fact treants are labeled creatures.
If
The
somebody's
canopy
saying
creeper
that
is a
sap
creature.
is, if somebody's equating sap to blood, they're being very anal retentive
That's
because
the thing. It's technically
blood
not
is.
anal retentive. Sap is actual blood of plants. And it's another reason why what people consider blood as blood, because technically one of the reasons why certain creatures have different colored blood is because it doesn't work the same as other creatures' blood. You can go look it up to why certain things have certain colored blood. Sap technically is blood. And that's why it gets into what the DM considers blood. So if a DM goes, no, it may be fluids coming from a wounded plant. No, then you don't have anything to work. Swing away at it. Just take your bat and just hit for the heavens. But if anyone goes, no, it's technically blood, so therefore no, You have to go. So going first isn't always the best thing for a paladin. It's also one of those things that a lot of DMs, in my experience, don't enforce it. They don't care. Because to them, combat's combat. Whoever goes first needs to swing to hit first and swing to do damage first. It does not care. Well, it does not matter who it is. Just swing. So it's one of the things that the paladins get to get away with because the DMs again aren't enforcing it. The next problem, and this is a thing that a lot of people either don't read into and or don't care, is associations. Just while you may be able to adventure with characters of any good or neutral alignment, a paladin will never knowingly associate with evil creatures, nor will they continue an association with someone who is considered, who is, who is someone who is consistently offends their moral code. A paladin may accept only henchmen, followers, and cohorts that are lawful good.
And the
Reason
key
why,
word is knowing.
yeah, and like the big thing, the thing is, this is also goes part of the code of conduct is paladins cannot do stuff with evil creatures. They so if the party has a favorite store they buy and sell stuff towards, the moment the paladin realizes that they're evil, they can't go there anymore. They can't associate with them anymore. They can't buy or sell. So they can't have any associations with them because it doesn't matter if he has the best deals. He gives the most money. He has the best stuff. He's a bad guy. Can't do anything with him. The moment the paladin realizes that there's an evil character in the party, they can't willingly associate with them anymore because it's
And
like
more likely are going to attempt to do what they can to either destroy or
bring them to justice.
incapacitate or jail the evil character or NPC.
Yeah, does it comes into like what they can do from that point on to rectify the situation because like wait, I've been aiding and abetting an evil person. Crap, I can't do that anymore. How can I correct this? How can I technically get away with bringing this guy to justice without detrimenting myself, but still bring this person to justice? It is a good way for a party to lose their paladin is simply because one person is going around going, I'm evil, he. I'm gonna be constantly be standing behind him so when he doesn't detect evil, he doesn't notice it's me. When it's like you're purposely now trying to screw over a party member deliberately because when they find out, if they now go, okay, well, you may be evil, but we're friends, so we're just gonna go around doing stuff. Instantaneously, they lose all their abilities. They can't. They're just a fighter without the feats at that moment. Because they still get to use their weapons, they still get to use their armor, but all of their magical stuff, all of it, their aura of courage, divine health, turn undead, spells, remove disease, smite evil.
What makes a paladin a paladin?
Yeah, so all this stuff that made someone go, this is really awesome, automatically goes away because that one person in the party got found out to be evil. And in my experience, that person is somehow never the bad guy for concealing and hiding from the entire party they're evil, from doing literally everything they can to still be evil, like murdering people, assassinating politicians. Yes, it's happened in a game I was in. Literally turning party members against each other, just being vile evil. But the moment they found out to be evil, it's like, oh, you're just being a whiny baby and can't live with the fact that this is my alignment. I'm not changing it for you. It's like you 5 minutes ago, you deliberately pointed out that the entire reason why you decided to go evil was because I was a paladin.
Yeah, that sounds like
That accidental
being a
alignment
dickhead.
shift because like something turns you evil, like a curse or something, or you tragically just go that way through your own actions. But starting the game out as evil solely because you heard someone was being a paladin and you wanted to screw them over, and the group heard you say that when they all found out you were evil, suddenly the paladin's the bad guy because they're like, oh great, I have an option: lose all my paladin stuff or bring in a new character. Oh, you're just being a whiny baby. It's like, no, no.
No,
He just
you were
admitted that
being
he
a
deliberately screwed my character. How am I the bad
you
guy?
were being a complete metagamer from the beginning,
Yeah,
and a
because like,
bad person
yeah,
and a bad player.
it's like, no. So those out there, if someone's being a paladin, don't purposely, intentionally go, damn, I want to be evil, but I want to keep it a secret. So that way, when he finds out, I screw him over. It's like, no, no. If you're going to be evil, and a DM permits it, at any point, anyone finds out you're doing it deliberately to screw over a paladin, you're a
You're
bad
the bad
player.
guy, not the
You're a
paladin.
bad friend. You're a bad party member. You need to stop.
Or leave the party,
Yeah,
or get kicked out.
it's like that you're the problem at that point. And again, from my experience, for some stupid reason, the people who do that are never depicted as the problem, even after they admitted they do it to screw over the paladin. It's like, that's not cool. Don't do that. That's not cool. It's like, if you don't want someone to play a paladin, just say, I'd rather you not play a paladin. Can you please come in with something else? That's somewhat acceptable because you're like addressing the whole, I have a problem, I have a dilemma. I'd rather you not do this. Can you please not do this? Instead of, I'm going to deliberately be evil so that way when they finds out, they either have to turn on the party or make a new character. No, don't do it. It doesn't matter if you hate paladins or not. If you don't agree with the paladin's code, if you don't believe that they have to be lawful good, you can disagree all you want. But the moment you start doing something to deliberately screw over the paladin, no, stop, don't. Because the paladin already has to skirt the edge of what they can and cannot do, so they can accidentally screw themselves over. They don't need your help screwing themselves over. All it takes is one misstep and they screw themselves. So don't be the catalyst to making more people hate paladins. Just don't. Because obviously, from these abilities, they have strong class abilities. They can be a huge asset as a frontline fighter, as a support character, as a backup healer. Wonderful, wonderful things. When I say I've actually had a game where the party members were paladins. Did they make it quite far? Yes. Did they have fun? Hi, one of those people that was one of those paladins. Yeah, it's like one of the things about being a paladin is you have to obey the laws of the land you are in. Doesn't mean you have to agree with the laws. It doesn't mean you have to like literally go, I have to enforce all these laws. You have to follow the laws of the land you're in. So as long as you are unaware,
Also good and still have a good time.
yeah. So as long as you're not aware that party members are deliberately breaking laws, because ignorance is bliss. If you have no idea that a party member is a burglar, guess what? It doesn't matter because you're not aware of it. The moment you find out you go, so some of this stuff you've gotten me is ill-gotten loot. Yes. that you've given to me because you've stolen it and you wanted party members to have it. Yeah. So if I go check a most wanted board, you're gonna take that time to disappear, right? Because unless the laws permit the paladin to go, okay, yeah, you're breaking the laws. I haven't caught you breaking it. As long as I can't prove that you've done these, I say, I know you're up to no good, but I have no proof you're up to no good. That's a catch 22. So if there is a burglar and the paladin becomes aware that certain like things have been stolen, and then he pops up with those things, paladin just gives them a look of going, "Oh, I heard from the grapevine that the magic sword was burglarized last night." Give that aggressive side eye to the party rogue, as the party rogue suddenly starts hiding all of the magical stuff instead of giving it to people. Going, "I have no idea what's that about." So it's like, yay. So it's one of those ignorance is bliss. If you're gonna be up to no good, don't involve the paladin because the paladin has to go. The paladin kind of has to be the joy kill. So as long as he's kept in the dark about particular things, great. But it also goes into don't deliberately screw the paladin because
Really don't.
they're strong combatants, they're strong support, and they're multifaceted. Again, they're multifaceted. I'm going to beat a dead horse with this. It's because they can run up into melee, beat the crap out of stuff. They can give support to boost other party members because of their spells. They can do this. Like one of my favorite paladin spells. I can't remember the level. It's called Holy Weapon, where they take a weapon, cast a spell on it, and it becomes a +5 holy weapon. Which means they just take a rusted dagger, poke it, and now it's a +5 holy weapon. So it's like, yeah, I get additional +5 to hit and damage rolls. So they don't even need to buy expensive weapons. And it doesn't have to be a weapon they can use. They can prep that several times, as many times as they can. Go, oh, you have a +1 sword? Now it's a +5 holy sword. You have a +2 bow? Now it's a +5 holy bow. So it's like literally, they can make the party's weapons so much more powerful because it's like I'm just gonna make them be considered +5 holy weapons. So as long as he has that spell, the party doesn't have to like overly invest in everyone having badass weapons because you have a person who can literally go, "Oh, I'm gonna take a portion of my money, help support it, making sure this party member over here has what they needs." The moment the party goes, "We need magical weapons to defeat this," holy weapon, and then they just say go forward with a +5 weapon, and that's badass. That's that's amazing. It is a superb weapon because again, it doesn't even have to be masterwork. They're just
Granted, they have to do it every time you want to have a +5 holy weapon,
well,
but it's still a +5
it
holy
lasts
weapon at
like
will.
without looking it up, it lasts like a minute per level or something like that. So it lasts a good long while. So it's not like every single turn you're casting it. It's bam, yay, bam, yay. But then somewhat moving on, so we're not beating a dead horse. We can go about a living horse. Uh, yes, saintly. Paladin mounts are awesome too. Paladins get their own chart for how their mounts proceed forward. They're starting at 5th level. The mount gets more hit dice, better AC, becomes a little stronger, gets smarter. Well, I mean, technically you get it at level 5. So it's like if you get the heavy war horse, it's not a 3 hit die horse; it's a 5 hit die horse. Horse that gets +4 natural armor, +1 to strength, and intelligence of 6. Empathetic link, improved evasion, shared spells, and shared saving throws, which pretty much means a lot of your bonuses you get from magical effects that you cast while adjacent to it, and while being adjacent to it, it gets. Like the shared saving throws. For each of its saving throws, the mount uses its own base saving throws or the paladin's, whichever is higher. The mount applies its own ability modifiers to the saves and doesn't share any other bonuses on the saves that the master might have, such as from the magical items or feats. Which means if the DM permits you to get a mount and it has sucky saving throws, or like one really good, one horrible ones, and the paladin of a high enough level goes, well, I have these bonuses here. Well, it uses whatever's higher, so the mount gets better saving throws. Improved evasion is better than evasion, and it pretty much is when it passes the saving throw, it takes no damage, while if it fails, it only takes half damage. So it has high survivability there. And as the paladin gets higher level, it gets more hit dice, better natural armor, better strength, and smarter. Like at 11th level, command creatures of its type, well, of its kind. Once a day, per 2 paladin levels of its master, a mount can use his ability to command other normal animals of approximately the same kind as itself. War horses and war ponies. This category includes donkeys, mules, and ponies. As long as the target creature has fewer hit dice than the mount, this ability functions like the command spell. So it's like literally your war horse can just go up to other horses and go, I am the captain now. And because at that level, because it's once per 2 levels of the paladin, it can use it 5 times. So it can technically has the potential to command 5 other horses to go do what it wants. So it's like, yay. Spell resistance is awesome because it gets the paladin's level +5 for its SR, which means at that point it gets a 20 SR. That's its level 15 power. So those who don't remember spell resistance, there's a laundry list of spells that don't auto bypass spell resistance. A caster has to roll d20 at their caster level and beat a creature's SR. If they beat it, the spell works normally. If they fail it, the spell auto fails. So for the mount to automatically get a 20 just when you reach 15, yeah, you have to be high level to get it. But going, hey, look, it's 15, a Wajatov, SR 20. Low level casting creatures aren't going to be very happy with it, but at the same time, it's still really good. It does give examples of it. Now, a thing to note that a paladin, as they go higher up in levels, they can get different mounts. I believe at level 9 or something like that, they are able to get like uh, a Pegasus or a unicorn. So when they reach actual around mid level, they could possibly get either a really good, really awesome magical beast, a unicorn, or a flying mount, such as a Pegasus. So the level of this is awesome kicks off relatively strong because they have the potential to get better mounts. And that's simply because they're awesome like that. And the restrictions on those mounts, besides being listed based on level, uh, can be sculpted by the faith you choose and how uh, anal the DM wants to be. Uh, does to go into last bits about this before we end the episode. Some of the things that I've had to experience as both a player and a DM with people doing stuff with paladins is people trying to contradict paladin BS, because if something that's technically evil is considered lawful in a place, the paladin can't do anything against it. That does not mean the paladin gets to or has to indulge in it. It's like, okay, what let's use a sore topic. No, we can't use that sore topic. That will most likely get this video taken down. So we're not going to do that. Um, wow, that's like my best topic thing. Well, let's say uh unjustified dueling. Like for instance, there's a lot of places throughout history where if you get wronged by someone, you can challenge them to a duel to the death. And that can be taken from any degrees of someone stole from you, you can now duel them to the death because they stole from you. They've insulted your family honor, they've insulted you. Uh, they just
Paladins don't like that shenanigans.
yeah, it's like just so throughout history there's been random examples of it. It's like, oh, we both want this woman here, but only one of us can get her. You have better odds of getting her through random things to either A, she likes you more, and or B, I'm a poor farmer and you're a noble. So it's like there's certain degrees that through lawful things you can go, oh, I'm gonna duel you for her for her hand. Winner not only gets to live but gets her hand. Paladins go, no, no, I'm not gonna support that. It may be legal here, I'm not gonna support it. No, just no.
There's none of these shenanigans going
Yeah,
to happen.
it's like that's shenanigal BS that started as a good way to mitigate things because like it starts with like here's the things that cause it, here's how we're going to resolve it, to people using and abusing it. So until it's fixed, no. Then there's such things as like, okay, it's legally allowed for a sheriff, pretty much a law enforcement, to behand thieves. So if you're caught stealing, your primary hand gets removed. A paladin may go,
Yeah, no.
oh, that makes certain particular sense. It's just an extreme effect, but then it's like, wait, why are they stealing? Do they not have the means to buy the food? Do they not have the means there? Wait, not having a hand, especially since it's their dominant hand that gets removed, that impedes their future because now they're going to have problems earning money, earning upkeep to then get that food. So you're not resolving the problem, you're causing their problem to be worse because now they have to rely on getting better at stealing to survive. And that rule, you may think, oh, they're stealing like expensive things. No, it can simply be a child stealing an apple from the apple stand because they're starving and they want their little sister to have food. Nope, he gets his hand removed because he stole an apple. Does not matter if it's like a cheap like 3 copper pieces for that apple. No, no, because he sold it, his hand gets to get removed, which impedes any future work he tries to do, and him and his sister go hungry for another day. So a paladin goes, by law, the law states that your hand has to be removed for doing this theft. Doesn't necessarily mean the paladin has to be the one that removes the hand. No, because he's technically not a law enforcement agency. So he has to make a decision between alerting the guards that, hey, thief, or going, how can I rectify this without my morals being destroyed? Easy way is, oh, they didn't steal it. I told him to take it because here's your 3 copper pieces, vendor, for that young man's apple. Is the vendor probably going to be pissed off you didn't pay first before the apple was taken? Yeah. But is the vendor going to go, damn you kids? It's going to go, I got paid for my
I
apple.
got
I
my
don't care
money.
anymore. It's like, I got my money. I'm good. The guards made you look at the paladin funny like, this. There's some places that like to go beyond and above things, but just don't. Another big thing is not paying attention to what you use your abilities on. Just like I said, I'm gonna smite evil this rat. I've literally played games where paladin has gone literally. It's a dire rat. I smite evil on it. It's like, okay. He's like, I have an 18 charisma, so that's a +4 to hit. I'm like, no, it's not. Yes, it is. No, it's not. Yes, it is. It's a yes. No, that's not. I'm like, okay, fine. Roll. Yeah, I got a 16. You missed, but I don't need a 16 to hit the rat. I know, but it's not evil, so therefore your +4 doesn't work. You just used it on a non-evil creature, but I still get the no, no. You don't even get the +5 to damage because you just wasted your smite evil on a non-evil creature. I've literally also been in campaigns where the party, for some stupid reason, was fighting something that had the alignment of good.
Wait, what?
Yes, paladin, smite evil. It's like when I've
But
said
it's
I've
good.
literally been involved in campaigns where, for some stupid reason, the party's fighting a unicorn. I'm like, why are we fighting a unicorn? Why are we charging a unicorn? Because it's a monster we have to slay. It's like, it's a unicorn. Calling it a
Was this heavy,
monster is an
mister?
insult. The paladin going, death to the monsters, charged with his smite evil. I'm like, you're smiting evil, a literal good creature. No, no, no. Why isn't he losing his good things? Because he's a paladin trying to viciously kill something that's considered a pure creature, a symbol of goodness and hope. What the WTF is going on here? I shouldn't have had to say what on that, but still, it's a WTF.
No.
So when I say there's been players that have just done random things because they just weren't thinking, or they just assumed that because it's an encounter, we have to kill this monster. It's like, one, not all monsters you have to kill because not all of them are actually monsters. Two, not everything is evil and or wants to kill you. And three, think before acting. Just when I said I've had to strip paladins of their paladin crap because they're just doing stupid things, like, what do you mean I'm getting in trouble for doing a divine wrath on this? Is it divine wrath? No, but there's a holy spell where they hit with divine fire on the spot. I think it's divine wrath or something like that.
I think
Right
so too.
on this, it's like, one, you're inside a wooden building. Two, two, I already warned you that you're on the cuff's edge because you're breaking and entering in a noble's house. So the party rogue can steal something that you guys shouldn't have had to try to steal in the first place. And now, on the guard who's doing his job, you're literally casting a divine holy spell on him, knowing that you're going to light the entire building on fire with it because it's not a tiny little just target. It's an AoE spell that's doing 50% fire damage. You're lighting the building on fire. And oh, you know this guy has children that are asleep because you guys attacked at night. And it's like,
And lose all your paladin powers.
so when people say Palor and Palorians are evil, this as actions like that make me go, well, if you actually read his stuff, he's not, but you're making me believe he is because you're a paladin of Palor. Why are you doing this? You're supposed to be a pillar of goodness, not I'm going to murder a guard for doing his job so I can burn down a building, which also stops us from stealing an item that we're not even supposed to be stealing because we were supposed to go do something to get it handed to us. All they had to do is do the side quest, and literally, they got the item. No, they wanted to fast track it by having the entire party, including the paladin, break into the guy's house to steal it. Yeah, so when I say you don't have to try to screw up for a paladin, paladins can screw themselves over, they can screw themselves up by that simple notion of just not thinking. So, yay. But to end it, uh, don't forget to join us next week as we talk about Rangers. I'll remember to like and subscribe,
Aragon.
and thank you for watching.